Welcome back to another episode of the Wedding Photo Hangover podcast with your host, Steve. And this week I'm joined by Jenn because Dustin is on vacation and I had a rough week and couldn't record with him when I was supposed to. So,
hi!
Jenn and I shot a wedding today together and we're driving home right now. This episode's going to be a little different.
It's going to be a little annoying because there's going to be a lot of car sounds. Ooh.
Yeah, a lot of car sounds. We're driving home from the wedding, and I thought Jenn was my second shooter today. I thought it might be fun for people to hear Jenn
critique me,
critique everything I did today while we drive home.
So first of all, I need to ask you, how honest do you want me to be?
Jenn. I mean, I guess you gotta go hard in the paint. Am I right? Or am I right, you know?
Are you the pain?
People aren't gonna respect you or me if you don't really just take me down a peg. Alright, so first things first, can you pull up your phone and just kind of give us a walkthrough of the itinerary today?
Ooh, this is not going to bore the crap out of your listeners at all.
You know, I think a lot of my listeners, a lot of Dustin and I's listeners are pretty established wedding pros, and so they have a pretty good idea of what happens on most wedding days. But we have been getting recently a lot more like new photographers, new to the game, who are getting into this thing. So it might be interesting for some people to kind of hear like a breakdown of a wedding day.
Okay. Well, I'll try to do it fast so it's not too boring. We can skip some of the parts that are really that important, that it's just really particular to this wedding. All right. So we started off the day an hour before the bride got into her dress. I usually do like 30 to 45 minutes, but since Steve is a little bit on the slower side, I always give him an hour.
Damn, Jenn, damn!
Because he requested it. So.
I do request it. I am much slower than Jenn when it comes to getting ready shots and detail shots. She's faster and better at that than I am.
I think I have more of a design mind, and Steven is very like particular about certain things, and so it just takes a little bit longer, but not in a bad. Well, okay,
let's rewind that. You have a design mind, and Steve is very particular about things.
Things? I don't know.
I'm sure there's something Steve cares about.
He's got a mind. Like I get a design mind, and Steve has a mind.
I've got one. Sometimes it works, not always.
We've learned a lot about each other more recently, mostly because he's been shooting a lot more weddings than he used to on his own. And so we're learning like his strengths and his weaknesses, and even though like I don't think that his detail pictures are bad, I think they're actually really good.
Damn!
Are you kidding me? Are you like, do we need to pull over?
So let's get back to the itinerary. Hour of details time, because, well, that's the Steve handicap. Is that what we're calling that?
No, it's not a handicap. You're just a little bit slower at it than I am, and it's just because you work differently than I do. It's not because you're bad at it.
Well, you usually give yourself
I can do
hour?
it done. I can get it done easily in 30 minutes.
Okay.
But,
so I have a 30-minute handicap.
Yes.
This is like golf terms, right?
Yes. So for all the golfers out there.
Yeah, it's like a two-stroke handicap, right?
So I gave Steven an hour, but I ended up shooting the details for this one. I actually really enjoyed shooting details, so it was a good fit for me. And I think there's no problem with putting your second shooter with their strengths, and especially if there's something that you're not as good at. And so, I mean, I have no problem with that. There's actually some photographers we edit for that are kind of the same direction, where they have like maybe second shooters that are a little bit better at certain things. But
I can say from experience over the last like 3 years where I've been shooting a lot more on my own, when I have a second shooter with me, I try to let them do the things that they're better at. And if they're better than me, based on like their work that I've seen. They're better than me at like doing brides portraits or getting ready portraits of the bride and bridesmaids, or they're better at details. I try to say like, hey, yeah, go ahead and do that, because I want them to do things that they like to do and that are challenging, and that they can feel like they're doing something creative and they're doing work that they're proud of. Like I've talked with a lot of my second shooters, and they get frustrated working with other people because they don't get to make creative decisions and stuff. So I try to let them have more time to do it. Wow, Jen. Wow, are you asleep right now? Because you're just bored to...
I closed my eyes for like 2 seconds. It's been a long day, and you're talking a lot. So let's get back to the itinerary.
Wow, the itinerary is so much more exciting than me talking. That's how boring I was.
Let's get back to the entertainment. Okay. So as far as this itinerary goes, it's a little bit different than what we typically do. Usually we do all of the photos after, if the couple's not doing a first look. For us, we rely on our second shooter quite a bit, and we require a second shooter to actually shoot portraits of the couple individually. So say if it's like a bride and groom, we would do the bride and the bridesmaids and the groomsmen, their photos separately, but we shoot them at the same time. One photographer would shoot one, the other photographer would shoot other. I know for some people, the primary shooter shoots both the groom and the groomsmen, the bride and the bridesmaid, or if it's a same-sex wedding, both the sexes with the...
Both sides.
Both sides, yeah. So with this wedding, it was different because they were getting ready at Airbnbs that were farms. So they had a lot of different types of outdoor landscaping, and something that would have been unique to this wedding. And so we wanted to go ahead and do the portraits before. So a typical day would have been details, the bride getting into the dress, getting to the ceremony location, shooting the ceremony. But for this one, we decided to do 15 to 20 minutes of the bride and the bridesmaids, and 15 to 20 minutes with the groom and the groomsmen. After that, we headed to the ceremony location, and we shot as much detail as we possibly could because it wasn't in the same location. So it was really important for us to get a room shot, anything that we're going to be capturing that guests could move around or change so that they can look back. The couple spend so much time on those details that they want pictures of it. Even if they say, oh, we're never going to really use those photos. Honestly, it does matter, because you spend so much time as a couple trying to plan for this wedding. It's important to capture every little thing, even if there's a possibility they are not going to put it in an album. It's just important. You never know what's going to happen in 20 years where they want to look back at these photos. Maybe they want to see their centerpieces, or they want to see a full room shot. So it's better to just go ahead and get it than to hear back that they regret that you didn't get it. So we try to get every possible shot we can. And we tried to get all of those details before the ceremony happens.
When we can.
Yeah.
This wedding was unique because the ceremony and reception were in the same place. A lot of times when we do weddings, the ceremony's at like a church and the reception's at some other venue. So we were actually able to do that. And because of the way things were scheduled, even though I was the primary shooter and Jenn was my secondary shooter, I had Jenn do the detail shots because I needed to check up on the bride and groom, basically, and make sure we had a good relationship continuing to go on with them.
I don't know what that means.
I need to be in constant contact with the bride and groom all day long.
Did you do something to make them feel like, or to make you feel like you did not have a good relationship with them?
Every time I breathe in front of a bride or a groom, I feel like I've done something to
Steven
make
is
them think.
very self-conscious.
No. So towards the beginning of the day, I think there was a discrepancy between the schedule the bride had sent us like a month ago and the schedule on the day. And so, like, when I was going over the schedule with the groom, I was like, oh yeah, you guys are supposed to go to the ceremony at this point in time, the ceremony location. And so he was like, okay, cool, we'll head over there. And then he sent like a text to the bride saying, hey, we're going over there, like 20 minutes after I said that. So 20 minutes after, according to my schedule, he was supposed to leave. But it was 15 minutes before, like, the revised schedule, which I didn't have, said he was supposed to leave. And so I felt a little self-conscious after that, because I felt like maybe I had forced him to leave early, and that had caused some undue, I thought maybe, like, I had caused some undue stress on the day. Turns out everything was just fine, but like in the moment I felt like maybe I had done something to make things not as relaxed and as great as they should be. So I felt like I had to make up for things. So yeah, I went to check on the bride. I went to check on the groom. I like to check in with them. I like to make sure, I tell a few jokes. I like to make sure they laugh. It's the Steve Van L glad-handing treatment,
And are we already starting the critiquing, like, now?
Yeah, go for it.
The jokes could be a little awkward.
Oh, snap.
There's some
I wasn't
pity
the one
laughs.
making the sex jokes. That was the bridesmaids, and it made me super uncomfortable.
Yeah, Steven started to turtle, which what I refer to as like getting into a shell. Like you curl up into a ball. Yeah.
These are lies. They're untrue.
You like fell to the ground, grabbed onto your knees, tucked your head in, put your hands over your ears. So your response was to bend over and laugh like it was funnier than it really was.
I think when the bridesmaids are making a lot of jokes, I think when the bridesmaids are making a lot of jokes to the bride about how she's going to have sex for her very first time.
Who knows if it was the first time, but anyways.
That was the joke they were making, and it made me uncomfortable. Yes.
Okay.
I'm a delicate man. I have delicate sensibilities.
I do know these things.
Okay. So we got through that part. Did you want to comment on how I did? So Jenn wasn't with me. I ran over to the groom and the groomsmen to do shots of them. Then I came back to the bride. I was supposed to get back around the time she put on her dress, but I was a little bit late. So Jenn did those photos, and then I was just there for like the first look with the father.
It was really hard to do those without you.
It was so hard to do those.
Bride
getting in the dress without
I just don't know how they're gonna turn out.
Yeah. So after that, then
Man, I'm an asshole.
I did photos.
Continue.
I did photos of the bridesmaids.
Yes.
And I turtled. You said.
Okay, so the thing is, like, if you want to have an itinerary that fits like an ideal schedule for yourself, you need to have a second shooter who can actually shoot without you. But that's so important because you're working, like, if you are doing everything, you are working way too much and you shouldn't be doing that. And maybe I am like jumping the gun on where we should be, but I need to say that because there's so many people I talk to who they do everything. Like, they shoot the bridesmaid, they shoot the groomsmen, and they also shoot the, like, getting ready. And then they shoot the bridesmaids' pictures, and then they shoot the groomsmen picture, and then the wedding party pictures, and then everybody's picture, and the details. Like, you don't need to do all that stuff. Hire someone you trust, who's trustworthy, so you don't have to work so hard. Like, work smart, not hard.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. It took Jenn a long time to train me to be that person for her.
I didn't like necessarily train you, trust you.
Now I'm training Jenn to be that person for
what?
me. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I guess so. Like, how are you training me? How are you, like...
I train you so good, baby.
This is not sexual. We're not. And if anybody's training anybody, come on.
Yeah, so what happened next on the day?
So yeah, we did the details. We're at the ceremony, shot the ceremony, and then we went right into family photos. How we handle that is that the second shooter is always in charge of getting families getting the family together for the next photo. So we can go boom, 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 get it done as fast as possible, because believe me, those family members would much rather be in cocktail hour drinking wine than standing in line for photos. So
You'd rather drink wine than stand in line.
drink wine, stand in line, drink
It's
wine.
rhyme time with Jenn Klein. Damn it, I messed that one up.
Okay, so so how we do that? Say the first picture is grandparents' pictures. So while Steven was shooting the grandparents' pictures, I was getting ready for the next photo. So the next photo on our list was the flower girls. So I was making sure that the people who were involved in that photo, which would have been the little girls, so I was telling the parents, hey, the flower girl pictures are next, so if you can go ahead and collect the little girls, we'll get that picture right after this one. So I want to be able for Steven to be taking pictures almost continuously so that we can get through these as fast as possible.
Which typically I'm the one doing that for you.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be on the other side?
I feel like I do a much better job than you do.
I gotta tell you, I felt like you did a much worse job than I do.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh.
I seriously was moving people around. You never do that. You just stand in the background. I was talking to people. I was trying to get people's attention. I feel like you just kind of stand over to the side.
I usually like run to the back of the church and I'm like, we need you right now.
No, you
Because I
don't.
can't trust people to actually, like, when I say, like, we need everybody in the immediate family, there's always, like, somebody who's like, oh, yeah, John's just in the back. And I'm always the one running to the back, and I'm like, hey, John, we actually need you right now. Yeah, you do not run at all.
No, but listen, I did walk back.
You did a great job today. You made it so much easier for me than it normally is when you're not there. Usually I'm like trying to look at my phone, pull up who needs to be in the photos, and then like scream out those names. You did all the screaming for me, so I didn't have to do it.
Are you going to have to, like, all the times you've gone over the line and the car's going beep, 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 are you going to have to edit that out?
No, I got to leave that in. I was talking over the top of that. Everybody's going to know I'm a poor driver.
So, the family portraits, how, like, if you're critiquing me as a second shooter, how could I do better? Because I'm probably going to retaliate, but go ahead and tell me what I did wrong.
Actually, I felt like you did a really good job. That is one of the hardest things I find when I'm the second shooter, is like running around telling people who I need for photos and stuff like that. When I second shoot for people other than you, a lot of times, like, they don't want me to do that. They say, like, they want me to do something else, and then when it's time for that part, it's like a big cluster cuss. And the way, like, we, like you and me, do those sorts of things seems like it works out a lot better, where it's like one person is like literally, in my case, literally running around and saying, like, you need to get up there for the photo, and in your case, you have the confidence to speak loud enough that people can hear you. I don't have that. I speak softly. I speak softly, and I carry a big stick. It's my big dick.
What the No.
I just had to get a joke in, okay? This is a comedy podcast.
Oh my gosh, but that was not funny at all.
So after that, we go to what?
Oh my gosh. So, okay, we do get compliments a lot from family members who are like, wow, that was really fast.
You guys
Thank
have
you so much.
big dick energy.
Oh my gosh,
That's what they
shut
say all the
up
time.
about that. Like, dicks aren't everything, okay? Let's just move on from it.
You guys
Vaginas are better.
You guys have big clitoris energy.
Vaginas are better. Okay, so listen, Steven.
Jenn.
I feel like we get a lot of compliments on how quick we are. And it has to do with how much time we put into making sure this is as efficient as possible.
Yeah.
And if you are looking for a way to get through family photos very quickly, here's my recommendations. As soon as the ceremony is over, get a couple photos of the bride and groom hugging the parents, and then get into that location as quickly as possible and get the lights set. If you don't know how to set lights for family photos, you need to practice. You have to make sure that you get it right so it looks well lit and there's no shadows on the faces. After after that has happened, after you've set up the type of lighting that you like, going through that list, this is how I do it. So, hey, can or I will start off with, like, thank you so much for waiting back. I know that you guys want to get to cocktail hour. We're going to try to get through these as fast as possible. So if you guys can stay here, just be alert because you will be in some photos. So if I can just have the father of the mother of the bride, so if I can have the grandparent of the bride to come up with the couple to take photos, and then I'm going to let you guys know which photo is next. So that's happening. Steven's capturing that. I go up to the flower girl's parents. Hi, I just want to let you know your daughters are going to be in the photos next. And then right after that is the parents' photos. And then I say, I just want you to let you know these are the order of the photos. This is what's going to happen. We're going to shoot this photo, then the flower girls, and then you guys are next. And then I know from how I've organized the list of family portraits that it's going to flow very nicely. We'll have the parents, and then we'll include the immediate family, take the immediate family out, have the two parents together, however that list goes. Highly recommend doing a list if you don't do that as well. And then you just have that your second shooter, have that confidence to be able to organize that well too. I think that's really important for us because it really does make it flow very nicely. It's very fast. They can get to cocktail hour. Then you can get into the photos that take a little bit more time, like wedding party pictures and bride and groom portraits or couple portraits.
So after the ceremony, in the family photos, we rock outside, we do all the couple portraits, we do all the bridal party portraits, go back inside, and then we're kind of off our itinerary then, because now we're on the DJ's itinerary.
Yeah.
And I know some photographers like to make out their own itinerary for the DJ time, but screw that. I don't want to get in charge of the reception.
Yeah.
So the only things we have planned after that are sunset shots and night shots, really. And then we kind of just capture the events as they come. So I think that kind of brings us to a really good point, which is that, I think, we've done a lot of hard work, and I think that we deserve a music break, Jen. We deserve a Lizzo music break.
I just took a DNA test, turns out I'm 100% that bitch.
Just leave your mic on and recording, and then we'll finish up once we get inside.
Alarm off. Oh, I just bought some really cool dresses that I want to wear for engagement shoots that were really cheap and cotton and flowy so that I can wear them. And they have pockets. Can you include the link to the dress that I just bought for the engagement shoots?
Yeah, whatever you want, babe.
I guess I just covered the mic with the dress. Probably not good. Do you like this one? Steve.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So I just bought a couple of dresses for engagement shoots that are really cheap. So if you're looking for something that's cotton and wearable, we'll include those.
I gotta do a beer.
Oh, a beer. Ooh, that would be nice. A nice way to end the night.
Come on.
What? This is 9%, Stephen.
Yeah, I'm trying to get you drunk, babe.
He's trying to get me drunk. Drinks. All right. Let's continue this mess.
So we're back home after the Lizzo break.
I don't don't really know what I did with my phone. I don't think it matters. I don't really need to look at the itinerary.
I'll get it later.
Okay.
We're done with the itinerary because we basically got to the end. There's only one thing that happened kind of itinerary. Just clip it onto you. That way you're not like fiddling with it.
I'm trying to.
Okay. So there was only really one thing that happened on the itinerary. The bride brought up to you that you had said we could do sunset photos after the ceremony or after the reception. And that was not something you had actually said to her. That was something I said to her at the engagement shoot.
No, this happened before the engagement shoot.
Oh, okay.
So something that happened. What I've learned as a parent, you need to pick your battles. And sometimes things are worth fighting for and other things are not. She had said since we talked earlier and how I had said that we could just do sunset pictures after the wedding is over.
Mm-hmm.
That's typically something I never, ever do. Unless it's like a close friend.
But when they brought it up to me at the engagement shoot, and I was like, hell
They
yes.
did, because that was something we already discussed.
Yeah. But it was also something they brought up to me, and they're like, we don't know if it's something you could do, or something like that. Was what they said to me.
But the thing is, I had already sent an itinerary to her before the engagement session.
I was like 100% on board though, because I really wanted to do sunset photos.
Yeah, and then, which I figured you would be, and that's the reason why I was like, yeah, it's just Steve. I'll just let him do. No, and it was also the location was weird, so there really wasn't a lot of places we could take pictures. The wedding ended up ending at 8:15, so it just made sense for us to do it, and I just went along with it. There's a possibility she talked to another photographer, and that's what they said. And I just ended up going with it because, again, you pick your battles with children, you pick your battles with your business. And this one, I was just like, it kind of makes sense that we would just end up doing portraits after, because we would get that good light and we'd have a little bit more options than shooting around the location that just really didn't have anything around it.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, we always try to go above and beyond for our clients, but these clients in particular were friends of some of our best friends from college, specifically our wedding photographer.
No, they weren't them. You just said that they were particular friends of ours.
I just said particularly they were friends of some of our best friends. Specifically, they were friends of our wedding photographer and Jenn's maid of honor, and Jenn was also the matron of honor. You hate it when I say that, don't you? But you got the
matron of honor. That was fine.
Matron of honor.
Matron of honor is okay when I am 34 years old. Matron of honor when I was 24 years old was really hard to hear.
But you were married to all this, baby. You were married to all this.
Matron is just such a weird word to hear when you're 24 years old.
So I mean, I feel like I kind of wanted to go even more above and beyond than what we normally would above and beyond. Man, this is the weirdest thing to talk about. But because they're friends of friends, basically. And because they were referred to us by our friends who...
I also think it makes a difference on how we're treated by the couple too.
And they were super nice to me every step of the way.
If I have couples who have been amazing and there was a misunderstanding, I want to make them happy. But if I have couples who are rude and then all of a sudden they expect to have free things, it's really hard for me to cave because it's building that relationship.
Now you picked a fight. You picked your battles, and this is the hill you're going to die on.
Yes. There's many hills that I've almost died on.
So when in the morning when we were doing the getting ready shots, I got to see where the bridesmaids got ready. I got to see where the groomsmen got ready, and both of them were these super cool locations. One was an Airbnb. Another one was where the best man's family, his parents had moved to a few years ago, and it was just this super cool house.
The house was very just imagine Nantucket kind of lake house.
So I don't know if I'd say Nantucket, but pond, lake house, farm sort of thing.
No, it had the very Nantucket colors, like the way that
like the architecture of the actual house, which won't be in any of our photos. Yes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The house itself, the property, tons of wildflowers.
Yeah.
Like this is just
There was
a 2017, 18 bride's dream. Like wildflowers everywhere.
Inside the house, there's a lot of scrimshaw. The house is actually made out of the bones of a giant whale, like a very Nantucket feel to it. The whole place smelled like cod. It was great. Why are you looking at me
I
like
kind of hate you right now.
it was a trendy modern farmhouse with like ocean.
It was not
colors.
a farmhouse at all. The only way it was a farmhouse is that it was on like property that was country.
Okay, so anyway, it was out in the country. It was this beautiful property. They had like a giant plot of land. They had a pond. They had like instead of like a giant lawn with like grass that was mowed, it was like a giant like field of wildflowers. Whoops. Man, I'm terrible at audio tonight. So it was just really cool. So we're gonna do like their sunset photos in a park near where they got married, and I was just thinking to myself, like, that park, it has trees like all throughout the park, and we're not gonna get like sunset looking photos. It's gonna be in a forest. So I suggested we go out to this farmhouse,
which I didn't know. Like the farm, like this. We keep calling it a farmhouse. It's not a farmhouse. It's just a house out in the country.
Yeah.
This beautiful lot of lands. I didn't realize it because I didn't get to see it. We were just at the Airbnb, and I honestly thought the Airbnb was pretty, but I just didn't think it was worth driving all the way out there for the photos. Now, your location, I feel like, was.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why I was a little bit hesitant about this location is that the location we originally chose is because they recently changed their policy where you have to pay like $150 to shoot on the property. And so we were going to go and just take pictures in secret locations where there really isn't a lot of traffic for we were going to be secret spies and spy photographers and take pictures on this property where no employees really go, so that we could shoot there. Not necessarily like we used to shoot there all the time, and then all of a sudden they changed that policy. We're not from that area. And so we were going to play dumb if we got caught. But
I had the great idea of shooting somewhere else that was private and that would give them photos that weren't like anything anyone else in the area got.
Yeah, we were trying to avoid a bad situation because I should just imagine us being there and then like getting like kicked off of and then having no place to shoot these sunset portraits. So this ended up working out really nicely.
The only problem was
we were playing with fire.
They had a pond, and the pond had a million mosquitoes.
Oh my gosh, it was really, really bad. Probably the worst I've ever had.
I have at least 20 mosquito bites on my hands right now.
And surprisingly, I don't really have a lot, but they were trying to get inside my head.
The mosquitoes?
Yes, they were like, going through my ear canal.
Where's that ear hole? Let me get in there.
Yes.
I'm going to get that bitch.
Gonna
you
get
said
that bitch
you're
ear hole.
100% that bitch, non-committal. Were you
am
singing
I?
a Lizzo song? Were you singing Lizzo at me earlier? Did I get Lizzo'd?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I put the sting in single.
Sing. Not sting.
I put the sting in single.
I put the sting in stingle. Yeah, so Jen, I guess what I'm wondering is what grade would you give me overall for today for the wedding?
6.
6 out of 6? Wow, that's amazing. I'm so proud of myself.
No, this is really silly. I don't know why I would ever have to rate you. You are unique. I feel like everyone approaches, well, most people approach weddings in their own way, and they're not going to be exactly the same. You approach weddings just a tiny bit differently than I do, and that's completely okay, because that works for you. I don't I think that you did a great job. I think there was a few times that you were a little bit awkward, but I think it was possibly because...
I'm a little bit awkward.
Well, you are awkward, but you were around people who were not maybe fully comfortable with doing photos and stuff, and so I don't know.
I put myself out there a lot today. I felt like joke-wise with the guys and the girls.
And got shot down a couple of times.
Yeah, I got shot down hard. It's, it's not easy out there. Not every crowd is a friendly crowd, and sometimes you bomb. And unfortunately, like when you stand up and you bomb, you can lean into it because, the next night it's going to be a brand new audience. But when you're a photographer and you're bombing, you gotta really try hard to stop bombing. I
think also you have to feel your crowd. There were a couple of times that my approach is to make the client feel as comfortable as possible. And sometimes for me, what I'll do is actually just talk to them about how we're similar. We
had a lot of similarities with this couple.
And so I tried to just say, tell them stories about something was brought up about a 4-second kiss. And then, so I ended up bringing something up about how our first kiss, Steven held my cheeks. And
you embarrassed the shit out of me. And
Steve's response was not really the best because he was like, "This is why I don't want to bring you to weddings," which was like, you don't get a choice, so you can kiss my ass. You can play both.
We own this business.
I own this business.
We own this business.
I own it. Don't even talk about you have any say on who you get to bring with you or not.
So, since you own this business and I don't get any say, what would you did I do okay today?
No, you threw me under the bus twice in front of the couple, and so...
I did not throw you under the bus. I would never throw you under the bus.
Okay, so I started talking... Let me finish what I was saying. Actually, I wanted to add on to what I was saying about the first kiss. I could tell from the couple as I started to talk that they did not want to communicate back with me. They just wanted to get photos. And as soon as I got that feeling from them, I ended the conversation and I didn't try to have conversations with them later. So it's really important to be as intuitive as possible with a couple, because you have to find what makes them feel the most comfortable. So maybe what makes them feel the most comfortable is just to be in the moment of the photos and maybe not having conversations to the side. And then some people, it's different. It's just different for everyone. And for them, I feel like having little conversations on the side just was too much for them because they're trying to focus on doing whatever they want.
They're very serious about their photos.
They were very serious.
Which was one of the things that was great about their engagement shoot. They were focused and they wanted to do it. They weren't some couples, when I do their engagement shoots, they don't want to do engagement photos, and they kind of feel it feels like it's a drag for them that they're even doing it. Maybe not both of them, but maybe one of them. But this couple was they're both laser focused on we want to do the best job possible.
Which I think that's why somehow we've been able to fit the best couples for Steven with Steven. I typically attract couples who want to be a part of the process and to get to know us a little bit better, who are very responsive to our social media. And I usually end up becoming I would say having a little bit more of a relationship with a couple than what I quote unquote call it dating your photographer. So I'm getting to know them, they're getting to know me, and they want to get to know me, and I want to get to know them. And what I've realized about the couples who are more attracted to having Steve as their photographer is they're very much focused on photos.
Yeah. I'm a fucking artist, everyone.
We're gonna have a lot of bleeps in
I make
this.
so much art, and like I just art all over the place with my clients, and I art all over my clients.
Did you art on the dance floor this evening?
I did with you.
I arted on the dance floor
It
too.
was on my Instagram story and yours. We were arting together. No, I feel like I connect pretty well with most of my couples. Most of them seem to really jive with me, and they say I'm a big hip daddy, and they like to shoot with me because I'm so flippin' cool. Yeah, I'm a cool cat.
You're a
and
top dog.
I'm a top dog. I'm a straight shooter, and they love me.
You're the top
exactly
dog now, son. Can't say with the accent.
All right.
You're the dog now, son. Is that how he said? You the dog now.
You're the man now,
Mom.
dog.
You're the man now, dog. There we go. Sorry.
Now can you
Oh
do
my
it with
gosh.
a Sean Connery accent?
You're the man now, dog.
Oh God, that's terrible.
How do you do it? How do you? You're the man now, dog. Is that it? Did I get it?
You're the man now, dog.
That mine was so much better than yours.
It's me. You're the man now, dog.
I'm sorry.
I'm Batman.
Are you? Yeah, I was going to say, are you like Batman or Liam Neeson? Liam Neeson's?
You're the man now, dog, Bruce Wayne.
You're the man now, dog. You're the man now.
All right. So
Slapping the boss.
everything you do sounds Jamaican.
Slapping the boss.
So I mean, we skipped over a bunch of segments tonight because we were driving, and you can't drink beer while you drive. But
Yeah.
now that Jen's told everybody I was
Yet.
the best photographer in the world, 9 out of 9, not out of 10, not
9 out of 100.
Damn it!
And I said 6, by the way. No, I think you did a incredible job for the situation.
So you'd give me a 666 out of 666.
Oh my
Got
gosh,
it.
why do you have to be weird? 666.
Why'd you say it a third time? Now we're going to hell. So next up on our list of stuff, beer talk. Jen, you cracked open a beer. I think I probably left the sound in. I didn't edit it out. What are you drinking tonight? I got you a little something.
So this has ivy all over it with a skull with a top hat and a
Read the
bow
words.
tie.
Read the words.
It's green and white and black.
Jen's drinking a beer from Taxman Brewing Company.
I'm sorry, but I can speak for myself. Stop mansplaining my beer. Okay. This double IPA is by Taxman. Oh, crazy enough, I'm not a huge fan of farmhouse double IPAs, but for some reason, Steven popped it open for me, gave it to my hand to drink tonight.
But do you like it? So the other option,
Not bad.
The other
Yeah.
option is what I'm drinking, which is from
It's
Taxman.
Belgian inspired,
Yeah.
by the way, and it's 9%.
And you love Belgian beers, so
I do, and it's, but I think all of their beers are Belgian inspired,
that is
aren't
true.
they?
The other option tonight was the Taxman Brewing Company Cherry Wit-Held, which is a wit as in wheat.
Is it
so it's a
with
wheat.
hell?
Wit-Held, held like I held your hand. Because I always hold your hand because I love you, sweetheart.
You don't. Actually, let's go back to that. We were on a date. We went to eat dinner, and I kept bumping his hand with my arm, trying to give him the idea of holding my hand as we were walking. And so I kept hitting him, and he was like all stiff with his arms wrapped around his body.
I'm just going to tell you, I didn't get the idea of what you were trying to communicate. Maybe if you use your words, I would have got it. But now,
I didn't want to have to tell you.
cherry,
I'm a girl.
Cherry Wit-Held.
I want you to just read my brain.
It's a cherry-flavored Belgian wheat ale. It's actually pretty good. I think Jen has had it before and said she did not like it.
Let's switch. Let me try this.
You want to try that? What, you changed your mind?
I like this. It's kind of sour.
Yeah, I actually thought it was pretty good. I don't like sours. I don't like goses.
It's got that wet dog aftertaste.
That's what I thought. Wet dog aftertaste.
It tastes like the way. Okay, I don't know if it's just my taste buds, but there's some beers that when I take a drink of it, the aftertaste tastes like the way that dogs smell when they come in from the outside.
I'm glad you finished with
dog cum and just leave it there.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't stop there. Yeah, good.
Dogs come in from the outside.
Yeah.
Of the outside.
So now that we've done some beer talk,
inside.
we've gone through like a whole wedding day. Jen rated me 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10? Is that?
No, I didn't rate you at all.
6 out of 10.
No, 6 out of 100.
Would you give me an A? People need to know.
I already told you I would give you affinity for
any time you can be the
corn.
second shooter.
You've got a 6 out of corn.
A 6 out of corn. Okay,
Yeah.
Great. Do you want to do some Q&A with me, Jen?
Sure.
Let's do some Q&A.
But Steve. Jen, the first question comes from Stephen Van Elk from our very own Facebook group. Damn, that dude's name just makes him sound like he looks good. Is that?
It makes him sound like he looks good, but come on, let's be realistic.
Oh, this is why I need you on the podcast. Jen, following up on our Lizzo break earlier, what songs do you like to listen to on the way to a wedding? What songs give you power?
Oh dear. We don't usually listen to songs because I am usually a hot mess on the way to weddings.
We can dance if we want to.
No.
We can leave our friends behind.
No, we don't listen to that song.
Because your friends don't dance.
No,
and
only
they
4
don't
seconds.
dance.
Only 4 seconds, Steven, or you're going to get...
You're no friend of mine, Jen.
I know this. I listen to a lot of music after the wedding because that's when I'm pumped. And then that's when I want to listen to music and I want to dance and sing. Before the wedding, I want to be hyper focused and make sure in my brain I'm going through a checklist, and so I'm not thinking about that stuff. So I'm sorry, it wasn't really.
The last 3 weddings we've gone to, we have listened to Lizzo on the way.
No, that's not true.
That is true.
Who turned them on? Who turned Lizzo
Probably
on?
I turned them on, but you sang to them.
Yeah.
I gotta say, Lizzo, that has rapidly become my jam.
Which really surprises me because it is very women empowerment, and you are very anti-women empowerment. No, I'm joking.
Oh my gosh!
I'm just joking. Steve is not. He is like.
I'm hyperventilating over here. I love her. I love her music. It makes me as a man feel empowered, and it's definitely not about male empowerment. It's 100% about female empowerment, self-love, and the message is just so great, and listening to it pumps me up.
I think it's because you get to hear me sing, and that's what pumps you up for a wedding.
That doesn't explain why I listen to it when you're not around. Oh, you're gonna cry about that? What do you listen to when
How
I'm
can
not
you
around?
listen to Lizzo without me?
What else? What
Okay.
other songs make you feel pumped up? What gets you feeling powerful, feeling ready to take on the day?
NPR.
I'm a pretty big fan.
I'm a big fan of oh shit, I lost my train of thought.
NPR.
Yeah, NPR.
For me,
I like the good segments where they talk about gardening and how to get the reddest tomatoes and
on NPR, yeah.
yeah.
I really like listening to, you're going to hate me for saying this, Jen.
Oh, gosh.
I really
For telling
like
us.
Kanye and Jay-Z, the song Otis Redding. That song's phenomenal, and like it makes me feel like I'm just like jazzed after I listen to it. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to go out and I want to do stuff. Like it pumps me up. Is that weird? Because you hate
No.
Kanye.
I don't like I don't hate anybody, but I don't really like Kanye as a person. I think that he does have talent, and I do like some of his songs, but I think he's very annoying as a person. It's really hard. I am definitely not the type of person that when I'm heading into a stressful situation need to be pumped up, because I'm already like super duper high on all of my anxiety. I don't need any other pumping up. I don't drink coffee in the morning before weddings. I don't listen to music. I'm very hyper focused, and I'm trying to assure myself that I've got everything that I need, so that I don't have a nervous breakdown before any situations that are stressful.
So like we get in the car, I throw on some jams, and I'm like, I'm a mother star boy. And you're like not vibing on that? Like you're not like, Steve, more The Weeknd. I need that in my life.
No,
that's how I
I'm
feel.
seriously deaf heading to a wedding. Do not know anything else that's going on other than what's in my brain. But like I said, on the way back, I'm very much more of a joyful, like emotional listener, like the extremes, like super happy, super sad. That's when I'm like getting into music. But I listen to a lot of stuff on the way home.
You know what really does me
I really like certain things when I'm running, but not necessarily heading to weddings. Sorry that I wasn't much of a help
What
with
do you
that.
like listening to on the way home?
Things I can sing to, things I can dance to, and no melancholy shit. I just want to be able. I want stuff that's upbeat, that is uplifting, or has a good beat, or that I can. Almost that I missed out on the experience to dance with everybody, even though I try to dance with Steve and he kind of like stares at me and laughs a little bit, but doesn't ever move his body. I love dancing. And so it's very hard for me to be the person with the camera in her hand, because I actually just would rather be on the dance floor dancing with everybody. So I just need that moment to get it out of my system on the way home.
Cool.
Cool.
And because I said cool, Childish Gambino, you know, some of his earlier stuff is
How
a
did that
bit
correlate?
Troy and I bet in the morning. They always said cool.
I thought the cool
Yeah.
thing was from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
No, that's from Community.
Nine?
Yeah, no, that's from Community, and it's what Abed would say. He'd say cool.
Cool.
Yeah, he'd say cool a bunch. But
I think it was just cool.
Donald Glover, who played Troy,
yeah.
is Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
And his music is very good. It's very good. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like we've been listening to a lot of Weeknd.
Yeah, I really like The Weeknd. He's very good. I found the Weeknd lullaby songs. Ooh, man.
Which is incredibly creepy, and I feel like Steve's gonna murder me when he's listening to it. And ride into our bedroom on a tricycle.
I'd only murder you a little bit. Come on. Okay, next question. Karthik Hedge from our very own Facebook group has this to ask. For those of you who have shot a wedding on a major holiday, which would be time spent with family, an example, New Year's Eve or Christmas, would you charge any differently, or just your normal rate?
Yes. Absolutely.
You charge differently?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
How much did we charge for the last New Year's Eve wedding we did?
How much did we charge? I don't know.
Compared to normal, yeah. I'll put it to you.
Well, first of all,
Come on.
I require them to do unlimited coverage because we're going to be there until midnight. And then there's a little bit extra with that. the packages I send over, I don't say, hey, these are our New Year's rate. I just say these are our rates. So they have no idea that I'm charging them more for New Year's. And it's not to be deceiving. It's just that, like, some people are turned off by the idea that, oh, you're charging me more for a holiday.
But you know what's so sweet about that, Jen?
What?
When they're like, oh, I decided not to get married on New Year's Eve anymore, but we are going to book your highest package, and we're going to go 2 weeks later. And you're like, oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, no, I would love to book you at my highest package on my special New Year's Eve rate. I mean, did I say special rate? I mean,
when
normal rate.
did this happen?
This is a comedy podcast, Jen.
This is not funny. I don't understand how this is funny.
The funny part is when you send them over
trying to make a
your
joke.
Special
that's the
holiday.
funny part is you trying to make a joke.
That's going to do it for us this week on the Wedding Photo Hangover.
You can't do that to me. I'm not Dustin. I am the queen. I rule over you. Okay, what? Next question. Yes. Next.
If you want
Thank
to
you,
follow
next.
Jen
No.
on Instagram.
Are we done with questions?
Yeah, because you're mean to me. You're very
Oh,
mean.
poor baby. Okay, what? I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry I was
No,
mean.
you do special holiday pricing. Yeah. And you never would charge somebody special holiday pricing on a non-holiday day if they move through a day. That's what you just said. You'd
Yeah.
never do that. Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. If
You're
they
a good,
moved-
honest person, and you'd be like, oh, I'm sorry. I gave you holiday pricing before.
Okay, here's the deal. Sometimes I sound like a hard ass, but honestly, like, I treat my couples the way that I want to be treated. And I also have to understand that I don't want to be walked all over either. I'm not going to shoot your Christmas wedding and miss out with my family on my normal rate or a discounted rate because I love myself, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get the money when I'm missing out on time with my family, which is, I guess, every weekend if I'm shooting a wedding, but it's more important when it's holidays. I want to build memories with our children about or with, like, New Year's. I want them to remember times. I mean, New Year's was always a really important holiday for your family, and I'm sure there's a lot of memories that you built with them.
Mm-hmm. And I want to build memories with our children about all the money Dad could make.
So it's just if you are sacrificing a lot, then there needs to be give and take. Like, you can't sacrifice on money and also sacrifice on time with friends or family. Even if you don't have kids or a spouse, like, you've got to consider the things that you're losing and what is it worth to you. And that's how we've said it. So yes, we definitely charge extra for special holidays, and actually charge a little extra if it's close to Christmas. Like if it's the weekend after Christmas or the weekend before Christmas, I'll charge extra because there's a lot of times when family wants to spend time with us.
I try to give a reduced rate if people try to get me to work on holidays we'd spend
And this is the reason why I fired Stephen.
Just the holidays with my family. If it's your family, I'm fine. But my family,
That is not true. You love your family.
I'm looking for any reason to get out of
I was like, Stephen, let's move out west. And he was like, my family.
My family. James Kelly from our very own Facebook group asks, have you ever photographed a
And
wedding?
that will be it for this episode of...
Have you ever photographed a wedding and had the strange feeling the bride really didn't like you? My wedding at the weekend was amazing and the couple were lovely. All my contact prior to the wedding had been with the groom, but on the day I had just had this strange feeling the bride really didn't like me. Damn, James, damn! Why do you have to be so unlikable? How often does this happen to you, James? That's what I want to know. I want to know, how often, James, do you feel like your
I have
clients
never,
don't like
ever gotten that feeling. I think all of my couples love me.
They're always like, come over to our house, let's hang out. We're having a key party, just come over.
And they're
it's
like,
gonna be real chill.
here's an extra $500 just because we like you. Every
also,
wedding.
come to the key party though. But seriously.
Eek. So that's a little bit more than just liking you. That was like liking you.
Yeah, they really like us. It's kind of weird. We have to actually
And they're
turn
like,
a
"Just
lot
leave
of
Jenn at
people
home."
away. Oh, yuck.
And
Steve, just come to our house.
How
Leave Jenn
much
at
are
home.
you like into like maybe threesomes?
Are you into threesomes? Also, we want to do a boudoir shoot with you, Steve. A couple's boudoir shoot. It's gonna get sloppy. Feel free to
Gross.
join in. Feel free to join in.
Sloppy. I just imagine sloppy joes. And sloppy joes everywhere.
And I imagine Chris Farley dressed up as the lunch lady.
That's what I imagine too. Oh my gosh, we're the same person. No, that's totally what I was imagining. And him dressing or like dancing.
But let's dig into it. James wants to know how often, brides dislike me. James, it happens quite a bit. Jenn, how do you cope with it when we show up to a wedding and you can tell the bride really doesn't like this guy?
Steven, I can't tell you any wedding I've ever shown up to and the bride does not like you. I feel like it's strong personalities that couples tend to either love or dislike. And
Are you saying
you don't really have a strong personality.
Strong personality?
You don't have a strong personality the day of the wedding. You are very go with the flow. You match a lot of what the couple is doing. I've been in situations where I've kind of felt like the
We're
couple
getting
didn't
guns
like
out.
me.
Somebody give me a gun. I'm a gunman today. Gunman. That's what I said
Gunman.
today. I'm gunman.
You're a gunman now.
Yeah, gunman.
No, I've had times where I've not meshed well with the couple, and instead of approaching it like I typically do, where I'm like getting to know them, and I'm like, I am so excited, you guys are getting married, this is gonna be so much fun, let's go party together. Instead of doing that approach, it's more of a professional approach, and I just try to get through it, and I realize, you know what, you're not gonna be best friends with everybody, so I just try to do my job the best I can possibly do and hope that they're going to be happy, because I know that my personality, or just my personality, is going to win them over.
Yeah. I think we nailed that one. I think we helped James out a lot. James, nobody likes you.
Oh my gosh. James, I like you.
She says that. She doesn't listen to the photographer's crack.
Yeah, it's the one about the butt cracks, right?
That's right. James and Ross do a podcast all about butt cracks in wedding photography.
Or the one about drugs. That's what it is. The
It's the
photographer
one-
of drugs.
it's the one about drugs,
The
you're right,
photographers
yeah.
who do drugs.
James,
I
this is
listen
your
to that
number-
one all the
This is your
time.
number one fan, Jenn Van Elk. She loves listening to your podcast about wedding
How you
photographers.
sell crack during your photography gigs. I listen to that podcast all the time.
She loves all the stories about the dummy cameras you have that are just filled with cocaine.
I'm learning so much. I've learned so much.
Learned so much. It's enriched her life so much.
It makes me a little itchy though.
Thanks for listening to another episode
Really,
of the
that's it.
Wedding
That's how we're gonna end it. We're
Photo
gonna end it.
Hangover
Okay,
podcast.
whatever.
This week with Jenna and Steve. If
Sorry.
you want to help us out, jump on iTunes or Stitcher and leave us a 5-star review. If you want to connect, you can find us on Facebook or Instagram at Wedding Photo Hangover, or on Twitter at Wedpick Hangover. Dustin, who's usually here, is on Instagram at Dustin_McKibben. Jenn, who's here today, who's actually here, is at Jenn Van Elk.
Am I here though?
And me, Steven, I'm just at Steven Van Elk. If you want to get involved with the awesome community of listeners, join the Wedding Hangover Facebook group. But if you really want to warm our hearts, head on over to StevenDoesn'tSaveTheWorld.com and you can sign up to support us for as little as $1 a month. It's extremely helpful to us and to the making of this podcast. Plus, you get awesome bonus content like when we do guest episodes, if the guests have things that we have to cut from the episode because it doesn't make sense for the episode, but it's still relevant and like interesting for photographers to hear and helpful for them running their businesses, we put all that stuff into like outtake episodes that sometimes go for like 20 minutes where like guests just tell us all about like how they run their business or how they do other things, and it just didn't fit into the episode because we weren't talking about that in the episode. So there's like some
But they're
really,
super cool people, and you want to...
There's really good stuff in there, like surprisingly good stuff. Why am I cutting this out of the real podcast? I don't know.
Because this is a comedy podcast, the thing that you've
That's
said
true.
like a million times in this one episode.
Yeah. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time your head is pounding, your limbs feel like dead weight, and your entire being aches for the sweet embrace of death. That's right, next Sunday after you shoot
Another wedding.
Did you want to give me some crap? Like a little more crap? You want to make fun of me a little bit more, Jen?
Yeah, the whole time.
Yeah?
You don't have that memorized. You just were reading from an iPhone, and I tried to talk to you during that time, and you're
gosh.
like,
Oh, gosh.
I'm focused right now at my reading talk.
When we went to California and
Yeah.
Ulysses was like, Steve, what's the intro to 20 Photo Hangover? And I
And
was
you were
like,
I don't know. We've only had 100 episodes.
and I don't know the intro by heart.
I had the intro down. You were like, I don't even know how it starts.
I was like, I think I say I'm Steve.
And I'm Jen. And this is...
The Love Buddies Wedded podcast.
Wrong podcast.
You know, that's, you guys can also, if you want, you can find Jen and me. We do it was a weekly podcast and we took a pretty long break. The summer's been pretty crazy with Bespoke Town and our business, and it's been a rough summer. Jen and I, and mostly Jen, but a little bit me too. We've been just going crazy with
We've been
our
hauling
editing
ass.
company, and it's been taking a toll on us. So we haven't put out as many episodes of Wedded as we'd like. But if you want to hear more of us talking together, you can head over to Wedded Podcast, or it's weddedpod.com, right? And you can tune in there to get more Jen and Steve in your ears on what will hopefully be a weekly basis again soon once wedding season cools down a little bit.
Of course, we'd appreciate a listen. Hopefully this does not scare you off. Not necessarily the same topics, but...
Not necessarily the same topics, similar topics. Things that, you could just take what Jen and I say, turn it into a blog post, and just increase your SEO. We're not doing it. We're making a podcast. That is a joke, Jen.
I laughed.
You could laugh harder.
It's so funny. Woo! It's so funny.
Did you have fun tonight with me?
My throat really hurts now.
Because of the creepy laughing you just did, or
Yeah.
because of everything else? Because all the talking. But the important thing, did you have fun tonight with me?
I don't remember anything. I think you drugged me.
Okay, maybe more important then. So Jen and I. So at the end of these episodes,
I think I'm severely dehydrated.
at the end of these episodes, Dustin and I typically talk about like things we're interested in, things that have been tickling our fancy. Jen, you cheated on me. You started
Yes.
watching a show without me. A show starring our favorite actor, David Tennant.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Oh
thought-
wait, what? So I just want to know what drew you into the Tennant land? What made you think I should watch this show without my husband?
David Tennant.
Wow. Now David Tennant and Michael Sheen together on screen at last.
David Tennant.
Jen started watching, there's a Amazon Prime show that's relatively new, I think.
He's making such a big deal. I watched half of an episode, and he thinks that I should have watched it with him
You should have.
because
I offered
I
to
should
wait to watch
submit
Broadchurch so
to
you
my
could watch it with me.
husband.
I offered to wait to watch Jessica Jones season 1 so you could watch it
all
with
of
me.
those things, I said,
I have
Stephen,
no
I'm a
interest in
very
them.
sensitive creature. I cannot watch children die not watching the show.
That is true. Both those shows are very good. Broadchurch and
Sounds
Jessica
like
Jones
terrible
season
shows.
1.
I don't want to hear anything about
David Tennant being
babies
a bad
dying.
guy. Was he playing Good Omens? Is he the angel or the devil?
Oh, he is not the devil.
He's a devil.
He is a demon, and
Ooh. Why is your face doing those weird things that look like delight? Back in the day, I made Jen watch a show with me, a show called Doctor Who.
that is not true. I watched it on my own accord and said, what's this? You said, oh, it's Doctor Who. Someone put it on a hard drive for me because they like it and they think I'd like it. And I was like, I'm unemployed, so maybe I should watch this show. Started it, and I was like, this is so dumb. I'm going to give it 4 episodes, and if I don't like it by episode 4, then I'm done. I start watching it, and I fell in love.
And that someone who liked it and put it on a hard drive for me was me. I did it for myself.
Well, we ended up watching all of it from Chris. Who was?
It started with Christopher Eccleston.
Yes.
He was just 1 season. Then it was David Tennant for 3 or 4
And then I
seasons.
fell in love with David Tennant.
Mm-hmm. Did you fall in love with Matt Smith?
No, I like Matt Smith, but David Tennant is my one true love. Wow. Sometimes you meet your soulmate, and no one else
Can
will
satisfy
rise
you?
to. No one will rise to that.
No
that
one
level.
can rise to that level. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love you, babe. Let's go to bed. Very tired. Thank you for recording with me. Do you want to say bye?
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks so much for having. Wait, before you stop, just put in there when you say bye, or do you want to say bye? I'll say. Stephen, thanks so much for letting me be on the podcast with you. It's such an honor to be on the Wedding Photo Hangover, even though I give you such a hard time every single time on here. I really, truly love your podcast, and it means a lot that you want me to be a part of it too.
I'm going to go throw up in the toilet now.
Because that beer is so nasty.
No. I really like
'Cause
having
it is
you on
really-
this podcast, too.
Let's make out.
You said no sexy talk.
Wedding Photo Hangover was edited this week by Steve Van Elk of Bespoke Tone. Go to Bespoke Tone for all of your photo, video, and audio editing needs. Woo!